Welcome back to The Truth with Trinity, and I am your host, Trinity. And if this is your first time tuning into the podcast, I'd like to send you a warm welcome. Here I talk about issues that happen within the Black community, hopefully for some resolution or at least some food for thought to go about your daily way. So, without further ado, I'd like to jump into this episode's topic, which is what if the Black man worked on the Black woman like the white man works on the white woman? Okay, before I get started, I want to send a special thank you to all my subscribers and all my listeners out there. And if you are listening and you want to hear more content that edifies Black people, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and also the notifications anytime that I post another episode. But to go back into what we were talking about, so what if Black men spent more time working on Black women the way white men work on their women? So, could you imagine if some of our brothers took the time they spent in chasing other women or talking negatively about Black women and took that same energy into building Black women? Okay. And I also wanted to do a small disclaimer. This does not go for every Black man. Okay. There are some Black men that do edify their women, they build their women, and in turn, their Black women build them. And so it works as a team. But let's not act like we don't have a problem in America with our Black men and perhaps maybe across the world. Who knows? So I want to continue. Also, you hear a lot of brothers claiming that white women don't conduct themselves like Black women. But what these brothers are leaving out is that the white man works on his woman. So let's look deeper at how the white man works on his woman, and maybe how Black men could take notes. I don't know. So let's look a little deeper. Number one, it's often said that white women talk softer and aren't disrespectful to men, or towards men. Period. For that matter. When in reality, white men aren't calling their women derogatory names, nowhere near the rate as Black men call women out of their names. So this refers to white women talking softly and not being disrespectful and and talking crazy to their men. Okay. Many Black men call their women the B word as a term of affection or endearment. Like, for example, so they'll say the B words even if they're angry, but they'll also do it as a term of affection, like my B loves me, I love my B just had my baby, my B's the baddest bee in the world. And with the B, it rhymes with Mitch, the B word. Okay, so this is our brothers though. Okay, Black men, or most Black men, call their women these names unknowingly as to the reason Black women continue to have their self esteem lowered and curse and disrespect Black men. So this also goes for Black men that say, "Oh, I know a lot of Black women that call themselves bees. They like to be called bees." Well, a lot of that reason is because that's all these type of Black women know, is to be called out of their name. They've been called out of their name so much. Their mothers have been called out of their name so much that they feel like that's all they answer to is bee. And maybe some of them are acting that way because they're acting other than themselves, but it's because of it all boils down to a lack of self-esteem, you know? And therefore, when a woman has low self-esteem, of course she's not going to respect herself and she can't respect you. And I think, instead of just, saying, hey, white women aren't disrespecting men like that, but white men also aren't disrespecting their women like that either, not calling their women out of their names. And the only time, okay, so, meanwhile, the only time you really hear a white man call women such names, as many Black men call women casually on a day to day basis, is only if he feels betrayed or angry. So, those are the only times really that you hear. I mean, you have the exceptions to the rule, where you'll have, some abusive white men just verbally, going on and carrying on. But those are mainly the two times where you hear, white men calling their own women out of their names as if they feel betrayed or angry or disrespected. Number two, white women are more trusting towards men and therefore know how to let men be men. Okay, so that's a big one that you hear a lot, that Black women don't know how to let men be men, and white women do. When white men are more likely to provide assistance to white women without asking for sex. White men are more likely to ask white women questions like, "May I help you? This looks too heavy for a lady like you. Let me get that." Okay, therefore, white women are more trusting around their men. Okay, they're used to, their men being taught, hey, help her out, she's a lady, versus, a lot of brothers, unfortunately, hopefully we can get this together. This is falling into the gentlemanship, of being a gentleman, because you want the black woman to be a lady, but also where's her gentleman at, so this goes into gentlemen. And I'm not to say that these white men aren't wanting sex or looking at her butt or boobs or whatever, but he knows how to keep that in check though, and knows how to provide something of assistance to her without vocalizing, um for start, like off what am I trying to say, just they're not going to say it, what's the word, instantaneously. They're not going to say it right off rip that that's what they're looking for. Okay, meanwhile, a lot of our brothers, they may do something nice and say, hey, what are you going to give me in return? Something, not all black men, but a lot of them, they do that. Okay, let me continue. Meanwhile, if more black men could do nice things for black women without thinking of sex as a thank you, maybe more black women could trust black men. Let's go over number 3, that white women are angelic, demure, and non-aggressive. Okay, so this is another, I say myth, because it's not true. I believe, I think to some degree it is true, and then there's another side to white women though. So when in reality, many white women practice witchcraft, are very passive and overtly aggressive. White men just won't let you talk about her though. So, they know their women can be quite mean and atrocious, but the white man won't let you down his woman like that though. He won't let you broadcast her on NBC and CNN, what she's doing, burning down houses and burning down backyards, and he's not going to let you play her like that though. He places his woman on a pedestal and has made sure that every man in this world does the same. White men also pass off his white woman's tantrums as mere whimpers. So, when she gets all mean and nasty, he says, oh, she's just whining. Her anger is just a need for attention. Okay, so he downplays when she acts a fool. Meanwhile, black men highlight and look for any avenue to broadcast anything negative about their black women's character. Also sending a message to other men across the world that the black woman, once again, is left unguarded. So let's go over number 4. The white woman will let a man be a man. So I kind of said that in, number 3, but this is another aspect of looking at it. Meanwhile, white women have always been able to look up toward their men as the hero, the Superman, the knight, someone that comes to her rescue, basically. This has given majority of white women the sense of ease of relaxing or laying back because the white man has proven to her he will take care. Okay. Meanwhile, a majority of black men are busy trying to save white women or telling black women to do it themselves. Like, for example, raise the children by yourself, work long hours by yourself. Okay, but then complain when black women act too masculine. Okay, so a lot is put on the black woman, but then, I think a lot is put on the black woman beyond what the typical woman can handle, and it's been like that for a long time in history for the black woman. So, she's had to go to depths and lengths that the average woman hasn't had to go through, and in turn she's given up a lot of her femininity to have to carry out these tasks that are supposed to be done by a man, really, when in reality most black women are forced to pick up the work another black man left behind. Okay, lastly, most white men will fight for white women, and white women know they are protected 360 degrees, okay? Leaving white women plenty of room to blow on their manicured nails and fix their curls in the mirror, because they know that their men are not going to let anything happen to them. They'll fight for them, they will die for them. And they've proven that throughout history and time again, even to current day, for white women, white men, and white women. Okay, so number 5, white women aren't, so this is a whole saying that white women aren't gold diggers and that they aren't overzealous for money. Okay, so this is another thing that I know a lot of our black men say, that they're not, black women are so money hungry and that the white woman is not, when the reality is that the term gold digger and social climber originated from an ambitious white woman who sought after a man for money and status. Okay, and that many young white girls are taught to marry the most richest and most intelligent man. So that's what their mothers are teaching them. And the white boys are taught to make themselves the most eligible by education, stock ownership, and money to attract women. So that's what little white boys and little white girls are taught. Okay. Also, white women never have to ask their date or future husband for money because their father allowed them money. So they get money from their father. So allowances from their father. Okay. Um, or their father had that serious long talk with her boyfriend to make sure her future potential husband can assure his daughter the lifestyle he as a father has always provided for her. Okay, so let me go over that a little bit. White women aren't somewhere with their hand out like black women are because they have their father to do it for them. So the white girl gets to sit back pretty and get ready for her date while the father has a talk with the boyfriend, like, hey, what are you doing with my daughter? And you're talking about marrying my daughter, but can you provide her that lifestyle? So you have the black woman trying to fend for herself because her father's not around. Her black father's not around to say, hey, what are you doing with my daughter? Okay. But the white woman has a man there to see and filter who his daughter's so in love with. Okay, to make sure that she's not getting played out of her virginity, to make sure she's not getting played by a guy that's just trying to swindle her for sex. The white woman has a white father there to say, hey, can you afford her the same lifestyle that I've been affording her? You see what she lives in, can you provide that? What's your job? What's your family's name? Who are you? That's what the white woman has. Okay. Meanwhile, most black men have a history of shaming a black woman who asks for financial security and are absent quite often in making sure their daughters aren't taken advantage of by men. Okay, so yeah, that's right. It looks very unattractive when a man and when a woman is asking a man, "What do you do for a living? How much money do you make?" Yeah, that looks unattractive. It looks unattractive because it's the father's job to make sure that their female daughter is being passed off properly to a man that's going to take care of her the way he's taken care of her all her life. But the problem is, in the black community, a lot of the black fathers are not there taking care of their daughters every day and making sure that they're groomed and taken care of. So they're not caring less about who their daughter is being passed off to or any of that. Okay, that's what's going on in our community. I'm not saying all black men, but the reality is there's a lot of black men and that we have this problem. Okay, um, number 6, white women are 3 times more likely to get married. Okay, so it's in the statistics, it's in the news, it's in the newspapers, it's in magazines. White women are 3 times more likely to get married. And you hear black men saying that too. Like, they'll say about black women, like in the media, that black women are the least desired. Okay, and then unfortunately, you have a lot of our black men that are following suit, saying the same thing about their own women. But you don't hear Chinese men, you don't hear Hispanic men, you don't hear Oriental, Japanese men. You don't hear any race of men agreeing that some other women are higher than their women. You just don't hear it. Okay. Um, so let me repeat that again. White women are 3 times more likely to get married. And this is because majority of white fathers aren't going to let a man test drive his daughter without a contract and his consent. Okay, so white women are more likely to get married because they have a white father that's not going to let you just test drive their daughter, and you know what test drive means. Okay, without a contract, and before you can get a contract, which would be marriage, you have to have his consent most of the time. You know, and a lot of our black sisters, they don't even have a father to even care enough to even get consent for or to either even grant consent to a man that is dating his daughter because he's not there or he's not alive or he may be locked away. Or he may be fooling around with other women and don't have respect for women either. So he doesn't have that much respect for his daughter. Meanwhile, black fathers are simply not there to care about who his daughter dates. He may verbally say he cares, but isn't present to be at the doorstep when his daughter comes home from a date or prom because he doesn't live there anyway. Okay, many black men are too busy believing most or all black women are whores anyway to even provide that kind of protection towards black women. Okay, this is some ugly stuff, but it's the truth, and hopefully we can solve some of these things in our community, and hopefully the black man can learn to have some respect for the black woman, so that the black woman can have some respect for the black man. And as black women, we need to have more respect, for ourselves, and in turn, that could coax the black man to have more respect for us. Let me continue. So I really believe that, a lot of black fathers, they'll say that they have respect for their daughters, but it's kind of like an oxymoron. How can you have so much respect for your female child when you don't have respect and you're out there dogging other women, you're playing other women, you're using and abusing and you're calling women out their names, you're using them for sex. I mean, how can you do that 365, 24/7 and then have this special what's the word, this other part of yourself that respects your female daughter? It just doesn't go that way. And this leaves many young black girls to be tricked or used by cunning men because there wasn't a father inside the home to filter and background check boys and men, and making it known to other men that his daughter isn't for sale. The black man does a mighty fine job of pointing out the progress of another man's woman. But what if the black man took the same amount of energy and worked on his own woman instead? Look, it's been a pleasure talking with you all. This pretty much concludes this episode. If you'd like to get in contact with me, if you have any questions or suggestions, you can contact me at thetruthwithtrinity.com. You can also listen to my podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and Anchor. And always remember, if you can't tell the truth with anyone else, you can with Trinity. Till next time, take care.